Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to the AskGolfNut channel and welcome to Ping G440 LST driver review. I've already done the Max and I've already done the SF Tech. There are full reviews on my channel if you want to go have a look at that one by all means. But the LS Tech is going to be for the golfer who wants to control their spin profile. Maybe the faster golfer who has a little bit too much spin from their speed, or even the slower swing speed golfer that just has too much spin because of their delivery dynamics. Generally speaking guys, if you generate too much spin, it's because it's a swing characteristic which possibly be better at lessons, because generally speaking the LS Techs being the lower spin are slightly less forgiving as well. But Ping have gone on a diet, so we have a new thinner face. It looks exactly the same as the old one, but from the inside point of view it's a reworked variable face thickness to try and keep ball speeds up across different parts of the face. I will be doing full forgiveness testing guys, hit this all over the face to get a heat map to seeing how good this driver is at trying to keep the ball speed up across the face. We do have a new carbon fly wraparound, which is, I think the G430 LST also had the carbon fly wraparound and then the 10K, but the other two didn't. Now, all of them have got the carbon fly wraparound. Why? Because it enables them to put a bigger back weight. So that's 29 grams, exactly the same as the Max, and you can move it in fade, neutral, and draw bar. I've got it in the neutral. I don't necessarily need any help making it go left or right. This is actually fade biased though. Ping are saying this is fractionally fade biased, this head, which will be interesting. So if you do need to move that weight port, you can. Internally to this head, on the hosel section, you can't see it because it's internal to the actual head, but they've actually taken away a lump of mass from the hosel section, which allows them to move that weight back. More MOI, more happiness when you don't hit the middle of the golf club, and we'll test that one. Right, let's go give this one a hit. I have got this in the Tensai Black 65S. I've kept the shaft the same on every single one of the tests of the three drivers. I've got this at 9 degrees. When it comes to the tests though, I will put this up at 10.5 degrees to do the same test as I did with everything else. So I had 10.5 head in the SF Tech and Max and a 9 in this. So trying to keep everything like for like. The reason why, because if you go 9 degrees with a slow swing speed, and I'll be doing 80, 95, and 110 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour with a 9 degree head, and that's just gonna fall out the sky. So you'd always loft it up. So the only possible query will be the hyper fast one. But let's go give it a hit and see how it feels. Not the best strike in the world, slightly low and slightly heel, but it's fairway. And you'll take that with an LS Tech, you take fairway all day. 108 miles an hour club head speed, path is basically 0, 0.3 from the inside, and there's the face, 1.3 open, and there is the fade bias. I didn't ask it to be 1.3 degrees open, it just did. So I may have to work it a little bit more if it starts to move over to the right, or I could just move the weight. Give it another hit, did feel quite nice. It's a slightly different audible tone. It's a slightly higher pitch, if anything, on the LS Tech than the other two. That is pumped. That is long. I am gonna be running out of yeah, I am running out of fairway, definitely. Club head speed 109.5 miles an hour. Path and face, as you can see, are very good. Can't complain at all. Strike's pretty good as well. 6 mil toe, 1 mil high. 282 yards to carry. Spin 2-1. And that's what happens when you have the LS Tech. It does lower your spin profile. I'd most probably be playing it at 8 to try and, if I was looking for the most distance, okay. If I'm going for the most accuracy, I am not using this. This is going to be a little bit more sensitive to tilt axis, we'll call it, because if it's just lower MOI. Again, MOI is an interesting conversation, we'll have that later. But it just feels really good. It's a slightly higher pitch than the G440 Max. I can't remember the SF Tech, but it's a different tone anyway. But again, if it cares about tone, I don't know. You're going to be going for a Max and LS Tech based on what it does rather than what it necessarily sounds like. Give it another go. That is pumped again. That is definitely going to be running out of fairway. LS Tech is definitely longer. Club speed 111 miles an hour. Path is slightly from the inside and face is basically 0 to that fractionally closed little baby draw dynamics. 12 mil toe, slightly toey strike, but 1 mil high. 288 yards of carry, 1935. So this is where I start to worry, not for the golf club, but for Foresight algorithm. Anything around about sort of like the 1800s, 1900s and lower, starts getting a little bit bumped up by the algorithm. So that says it carried 288. It's a good hit, and it would definitely be in the 280s. May not be quite 288, it's solid. And the fact that it hit fairway 0.2 yards offline, I won't complain. It feels nice, especially when you whack it somewhere there. It does a really good job. But this is for potentially very good players, very good ball strikers that want to try and keep their spin profile down. There are lower spin options out there. I don't feel that this is a massively low spin driver. Again, Ping are known for their forgiveness, so making a really low spin driver, which would potentially make it less forgiving, not necessarily their remit, but there you go. Right, last one. I'm interested to see what happens when you hit this at 3 different swing speeds and also whack it all over the face. I think it's fairly forgiving for a low spin head, but that's because its spin profile is slightly higher than I would assume most low spin heads to be. But it's just out there. Like, yeah. When you're on, this thing is big, like big. Club head speed 110 miles an hour, club path and face to path at very 0-0. Good swing day, poor strike today, 10 mil toe, 4 mil low, not the best in the world, but pretty okay. 281 yards of carry, 301 total. 10 yards offline. So on days today, I reckon I could get away with it. And I would. I'd probably get down to 8 degrees rather than 9 and see if I can get it out there properly. Because I reckon you could probably get some really big hits with this one. However, if you're on an off day, I'd be going to the max. Right, let's go hit this all over the face, heel toe, high, low, really large extreme misses to see how well this does from a heat map point of view. Let's also go test it 80, 95 and 110 miles an hour to see how well it works in different golfers' hands. All the shots now hit with the Ping G440 LST, their low spin technology head. I've captured the information at 3 different swing speeds, 80 miles an hour, 95 miles an hour, and full on 110 miles an hour. Remember, the LST, generally speaking, guys, is going to be for the faster swing speed golfer, the golfer that absolutely has a little bit too much spin because of their speed profile, or necessarily the golfer which has a somewhat high spin rate because of their swing. For those people, I would always say, especially in the lower swing speed but have too much spin because of their swing, I would always say lessons, not necessarily technology, but it is a definite option. So on the screen, you can see I've got my 3 different swing speeds. I've got the ball data on top and the club head data underneath. We'll look at the club head data in a sec, but let's go straight to the red, the 80 miles an hour swing speed. You've got a carry of 183 yards, which is okay, considering we have a total spin of 1749. Remember, this is the low spin technology, so it's absolutely going to be fairly low spin. This is at 10.5 degrees. I've had the 9 degree LS Tech, the 10.5 in the Max and the SF Tech. I did all the tests at 10.5 degrees. Why on 10.5 degrees? Because it's the most functional loft possible when you're talking about doing 3 different swing speeds, because I'm doing the slow, medium and the fast. Yes, it's not going to be the best for the fast, but for others it's absolutely, because if not, you're going to be doing this at 9 degrees at an 80 mile an hour swing, and that spins at 1749 at 10.5 degrees. What's it going to be like at 9? It would just fall out the sky. If you go to a slightly faster 95 mile an hour swing speed at the 10.5 head, you've got a carry of 235 yards, peaking up at 30 yards in the air. 37.5 degrees, or sorry, 37 degrees descent angle, which is brilliant. Anything under 40 degrees is lovely, and a spin profile of 2.2. That's absolutely fine and ideal when it comes to you trying to maximize your distance. You are going to get a good amount of bounce, and roll when you hit the ground in the summertime. Maybe not so much the winter time, especially with some of the fairways at the moment, but you'll give yourself the best opportunity of getting some distance out there. If you go the full on 110 miles an hour, 111 miles an hour in this case, is 273 yards of carry, 43 yards in the air, descent angle 43.6, and spinning at 2583. This is where the 9 degree head would not be set at 10.5, it'd absolutely be set at 9, if not possibly lower, to try and get that spin rate down and get that flight going a little bit more like that rather than like that. It's doing okay. 273 is absolutely fine. The descent angle is too steep, so that's not necessarily going to be bounding down the fairway at that, but again, going back to it, what you would do, you just change the loft down to the 9 degrees or possibly even 8 degrees and watch that thing fly. If you look at the club head data, we've got one at 80.9, 94.9 and 111.1, so within reason. You got your 15 mile an hour jumps on there. Efficiency 1.46, 1.45, 1.43. There is always a pattern of, as you go faster, you drop in efficiency, because as you go faster, you waste energy in sound and heat and stuff like that. But the attack angle, you are within 1.4 degrees. Club path is within, what's that, half a degree? Yeah, and so face as well is within half a degree. Very, very small numbers. And of course, we've got loft within 0.3 of a degree in 30 miles an hour of difference in speed. Yeah. If you want to have a look at the ball and club compare, that's the graphical representation of literally what we've just been talking about. You can freeze, you can pause the video and have a look at that one at your heart's desire, and it just basically shows all the information we've just been speaking about in a tabular form, but in a graphical representation, because some people learn that way better than the other. Let's go see how this golf club works when I hit it all around the face, high toe, heel and low, captures some really good miss-hit information, and then put that miss-hit information into a couple of heat maps. Now, there are two heat maps to look at. One is an efficiency map, like we have with the irons. Because an iron is a flat face, you can get away absolutely with using efficiency map, because the efficiency or retention of ball speed across from weird and wonderful parts of the face is absolutely paramount on trying to keep as much distance on that golf ball as possible. With a driver, it's slightly different, because we have roll and bulge, we have a curvature to that face, and as soon as you have a curvature to the face, you have to use a different map to understand truly what the distance factor of what it's called is of this golf club. But on the screen you can see the efficiency map. It is just a representation of how efficient the face is. How well does this face do of trying to keep as much ball speed on that golf club as possible? The whole idea, you miss away from the middle, and if you can keep the efficiency, keep the ball speed, then that's a potential for the same distance. We'll look at that one in a sec when it comes to the distance factor map, but it does really well. Not surprised it's green off the bottom, even though obviously that is not in line with the sweet spot. You can see the sweet spot is that little white dot in the middle, geometric middle, and so you can see the physical retention of ball speed at the bottom. That is a little bit of a phantom number. Why? Because of the curvature of the face. Again, if you go down low on the face, there's less loft, and of course, even though it's not in line with the center of gravity, you are always going to get a bit better retention of ball speed because there's less loft there, less deflection as you go into the green. You do actually, though, have to go quite a far way into the heel to get anywhere near the red, and it's still technically orange, but in the toe you start losing a little bit more, and by the time you go extreme toe, and bear in mind this golf club, this driver face is not the smallest in the world. It's a driver face, it's not an iron face. That is a fair miss hit going out there, and so one would possibly say you deserve to lose a little bit of ball speed if you're going that far away off the middle. So let's have a look at the distance factor map. The distance factor map is a much better understanding of how good this golf club is at trying to keep distance on the golf ball. So green is obviously good, red is obviously bad. We understand that one, and so you can see there on the map that you've got the middle is very good, the high is very good, the toe is very good, and high toe is very, very good. Low on this golf club is actually pretty darn decent, and it's because it's a low spin head. Because of the low spin head, it doesn't spin the golf ball as much as it's something like the Max would do, and so we have a little bit of a broader green stretch into the lower part of the face. Yes, it's still into orange by the very bottom, but if you're going to hit golf balls from that part of the face, then again, one would say you possibly deserve to lose a little bit distance from that strike. And it's fairly consistent. If you hit this golf club out the heel, it doesn't like it. It will lose distance. Anything red, like it is on the heel, definitely on the heel side, you go from the green to the yellow to the orange, and then as soon as you can see the scoring lines on the heel, on the red side, on the heel side, you can see it's in the red. And anything in the red is 10% distance or more lost. And that's no surprise. At the end of the day, a golf club cannot be green from everywhere on the face. That is the holy grail of drivers. And as yet, we haven't found a driver which is green everywhere, because I think physics is going to be the biggest problem on that one. But it does fairly well. I cannot complain on this one. It's an LST driver. It's not designed to be the most forgiving driver in the world, but from the green blob size for an LST, it's a fairly good, decent sized green blob. You have to really miss-hit this driver for it to badly perform. But again, if you're going to be hitting golf balls from certain parts of these faces for it to be badly performing into the heel of that kind of colour, then I'll be saying don't buy golf clubs, buy lessons instead. Conclusion to the G440 LST driver. Now, I would say, as generally, Ping do not make massively low spinning heads. The common thing for a Ping is their low spin head to be one of the highest spinning low spin heads of the markets across all of the brands. brands. It's going to be for the person who's going to try and keep their spin profile under control, but doesn't want to get suckered into the 1900, 1800 spin profiles that you can go down if you want the max distance. The problem with doing that is you are very sensitive then to miss hits, and you can cost yourself 50 yards quite easily on the search for that extra 10 or 12. Feel-wise, I'm surprised with the G440 line. It does feel one of the nicest, if not the nicest, set of drivers Ping have ever made. Generally speaking, Ping have never shied away from making quite audible drivers, and even going back to the G425, which is only 2 models ago, it was still quite a loud girl. And so Ping have moved with the G430, trying to make it a little bit sound a little bit nicer at impact. And now with the carbon heads, now they're all carbon. You've got that carbon fly wraparound on every part of the heads, the SF Tech, the Max, and the LS Tech. It allows them to make a driver which sounds much more carbon, much more muted, much nicer. You don't want ever to discount a certain part of the market based on acoustics. You can easily put someone off by having a really good shot, but if it sounds like a bucket, then necessarily not the best thing. And Ping, very much so, are doing a much better job. Hope you liked the video. If you did, go on, hit the thumbs up button, hit that like button. YouTube like, so do I. Down there is a subscribe button. It is free. It is the best button possible because it's great for the channel if you could subscribe. So thank you. And next to that one is a bell icon. That's a notification bell. If you click that one, that will notify you next time I upload another video. Hope you're well. We'll see you again soon.